I call the meeting to order for May 11th, 2021, private town meeting, second night.
So I supplied each of you with a spreadsheet that I should have done probably either yesterday or earlier than yesterday. It has all the list of articles, the status. If you voted on it, it says yes or no, or you passed over or whatever. If it isn't, then you go to the next column over to making the motion. As far as I know, in terms of assigning anything that the selectmen might make the motion for, which includes the building committee, I split that up. So Troy has articles, Gordon has articles, Tom has articles, then the amounts if we're actually not passing over, and then the source of the funding, which is, I believe, almost every single one of them is the unrestricted fund balance.
Even though it says undesignated in our motion book?
Yes, it's undesignated. Yes, it's undesignated fund balance, not unrestricted.
All right, John.
There is a handout that's going to be there on a handout table that lists 6 articles that I'm hoping we can pass over right at the beginning of the meeting. Those are the highway contract, which is Article 8, patrol officer contract, which is 10, the mixed unit, which is 13. We haven't finished, obviously, in some cases, I haven't even started negotiations on those. Then there are 3 others that are Article 42, which is a natural gas line in the town hall. Either Scott or I got together an estimate. The housing authority on 51, which is, I can't verify the figures, I don't mean they're wrong, I just need independent verification for that. And then 52 is we could be signing a pilot for the River Street Solar Farm field, but we don't have anything to bring to town meeting, so we're passing over that. This is similar to what we did a year ago, back in September, when we had a whole slew of passover articles. I didn't set anything up for this town meeting. Again, I should have done that, but upon prompting and working with Sandy today, we put together the list, and those 6 articles could be brought all as a bunch at the beginning of the meeting. If someone says, well, I want to discuss Article X, then we'll set it aside and we'll discuss it at some point. But those 6 we should be able to at least move on once we get quorum and a meeting started.
50. Can I jump to 52?
Yeah.
That is the stormwater.
No, 52 is
I'm
the
sorry.
pilot.
Yeah, we're going to pass over that. Stormwater is which?
57.
57.
And that is our technical corrections on enforcement that the AG's office recommended when they approved the stormwater management bylaw back last fall.
Technical
Corrections concerning enforcement.
Somebody wants them elaborated, do you have them?
Between myself and Larry, I mean, Larry's familiar with it also. This one, I went over the wording that's in the warrant itself as to the changes, and he's fine with those.
Technical corrections concerning enforcement.
Per the Attorney General's office when they approved the bylaw back in September. Or the bylaw was approved back in September.
What about the
So 53 would be, that's just a FEMA maps and floodplain. There's the actual maps, there are very few changes. The only maps that are changing for Halifax are a very small amount along the western shore, Silver Lake. All the other maps stay the same. There are a lot of definition changes and such that the federal government has said you must have in order to be in compliance with floodplain regulations. If the town decides, like Rockland, not to approve changes, then people will no longer be eligible for flood insurance. I mean, for instance, either when they try and get a new policy or if they try and renew a policy, they're not going to be able to get that. Well, there are various federal and state grants that might not be eligible for, but I suspect in terms of most residents, the biggest concern would be floodplain insurance or flood insurance. It's fairly lengthy. I'm not going to go through it blow by blow. Basically, what we did was get from the state a list of what the changes need to be. We incorporated that into the draft that's in the article.
And basically FEMA requires us to adopt these things, or otherwise they will not buy floodplain insurance to any applicant, or will not renew any applicant's floodplain insurance. And in some cases, that really, their financing is dependent on being able to do that. And which article was the
Stormwater is 57.
Okay. When the bylaw was amended last, is that what you said?
So, yeah, stormwater management, we had a vote in September for stormwater bylaw.
It was adopted in September?
Right, by the town.
Okay, adopted, okay.
And then the AG's office,
Right.
approved it several months later, but with a note saying you should be making these changes in your enforcement section. The changes were reviewed by our town council and that's the basis of the article.
What about the risk assessment?
We have two bids in that I'm still going to look at. One is for $32,200, the other is for $50,000. I'm asking for the $50,000, and the $32,200 proposal is a good one. The reason we're doing the risk assessment is that the auditors for several years now have recommended that the town conduct one. And basically, the idea is whether it's money in all shapes and forms, whether it's cash or cash or any other variety, or physical assets, to prevent them, in essence, taking a walk. That money is pilfered or assets disappear. So you put in procedures. Basically, what they'll look at is what do you have in place right now to prevent that from happening? And then they will come back and say, you should be putting in these policies, procedures, mechanisms, whether they're physical or electronic, or scheduling, schedule audits, in essence, of making sure that none of that is disappearing.
Our procedures for handling receipts.
Yeah, so
This is to kind of keep it to a...
Right, so, but in all sense, so for instance, one of the common ways of right now is that, and we have fairly good mechanisms simply because everybody knows everybody else and we're working in one building. But many companies have been hurt where they think somebody in the treasurer's office or the equivalent gets an email from somebody reporting to be the CEO or somebody else saying, I need $50,000 sent now to this bank account. And they don't question it. They do it. And then $50,000 disappears because there's nothing in place to say, okay, let's have a procedure. Maybe we should be calling the CEO and making sure the CEO actually sent the email. With our system, it's all personal because if one of us got something like that, we walk down the building.
Right. Say, what is this?
Yeah. But some companies, and for that matter, I think some towns, I don't know about Massachusetts, but in the country, have run into that.
Effectively, the assessment will be conducted of the collector treasurer's office.
Well, it's everybody. So anywhere, we'll talk about the recycling center. They collect money.
They collect money.
Anybody who collects money or that money comes out of needs to be assessed. Or do they have procedures in place that the money doesn't disappear, whether it's electronic money or cash money? Similarly, for assets, we, for instance, have an annual, we have a requirement, it's an annual inventory.
Right.
But maybe we need to be doing more than that. I don't know if we get down to the put in place of where, wait a minute, you ordered 10 boxes of paper, and I know I got 10, put them in the copy machine room, but now there are 9. Where did that 10 box so I don't think it's gonna, I don't know necessarily it's gonna be at that level, but that's the type of thing.
This thing is basically a best practices guide. Just in case somebody's not there.
Well, I expect somebody's going to ask, why are you doing this? Because in fact, the folks who had sent in proposals before they sent the proposal, and one of the typical questions, why are you doing this? You know, in essence, do you have situations that money disappeared, that assets disappeared, and you're doing that in reaction to an incident that occurred? And the answer was no. We're doing that because the auditors are recommending that we do that.
And for preventive measures.
And assets, yeah, that's right. I mean, somebody take a couple of computers, or,
Right.
which of course has never happened, that we know of, so. But having it in place is a good thing.
On Article 31, the 32,000,
Yes.
which company is that?
I do not know.
Okay. That was after multiple bids, right?
Yeah, but I will ask, I'll get some, Caesar's not coming in tonight, so I have to.
Did you say 39 or 35?
He asked about 32,
31.
the work order.
Oh, okay, 32. I thought you
Not
said-
the work order, sorry, 31 is the work order, it's the document management for $32,000.
Yeah, I thought you said 39, that's why.
Sorry.
So I just got the 50. And 90. I'm going to ask Scott to speak to that.
Yeah,
And I talked to him earlier today and suggested that he should prepare something and to try to confirm if anybody from the building committee was going to be there
right,
to
back him up.
back him up, exactly.
For the school items, Matt Durkee was on vacation yesterday, so we didn't have that many that were questions, but he's available to call if Scott can't answer the question.
And I'm not sure how much Scott knows about each of the schools.
Yeah.
Is Chief Shell's going to be here tonight?
I would hope so, I don't know that.
His items are off, right?
No, we have to do the vehicles.
Oh, that's right.
I think that's the only one.
Troy's doing that, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's Article 18.
Well, that's what I want to know. Yeah, I have a general idea why they're replacing them.
No, those are two hybrid vehicles.
Yeah, that's why it's a little pricey this year.
So, no quorum at what time are we going to call it?
8,
8?
or something like that. We talked with
Dennis?
Dennis, we get up on stage. I mean, it also depends on where we are.
Yeah, and if we're at 50, it's different than we're at 90. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
we're at 99, we're not.
Yeah.
Right, so RICO, the copy machine
RICO.
books, R-I-C-H, R-I-C-O-H.
Whose copy machine is that, which one?
No, Gordon had asked which company did we expect to use for the document management article funding. And so I queried Caesar. He said, "Let's do it."
It's a little concerning, I think we only topped out at 110 last time.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, I was telling Sandy, I was tempted to just change the LED panel at the fire station and just say one thing, NIPSCO tonight, NIPSCO tonight.
That's a tough call. Does it place an unfair burden on our business people? How effective is it if all the surrounding communities, or in fact, the whole Commonwealth had a ban on it? And does it drive people into buying the the larger bottles, and then they're tossing out glass?
Bottom line is, does it stop people from buying in other towns and bringing it to us because the line?
No, it doesn't, and it's a tough call. I mean, do we want the litter? No. Do we want people drinking and driving? No, but I don't think that's going to stop them anyway. I think it puts an unfair burden on our business owners. It's up to the people. That's why
No,
we had
it was
this.
liquor license open on Sundays. That was a big, that was good too.
Oh, we've come a long way.
That's what I mean.
Marijuana facilities, things that I know, never really thought I'd see in my lifetime. But business is business. People have to have work, have to make some money.
Any other questions on any of the other departments?
I think we got it.
Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Do it. Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Thank you.